The tangible and intangible pulls. Understanding voter motivations in American society. In the complex landscape of American politics, voters are driven by two distinct forces that influence their choices at the ballot box. These forces can be understood as the tangible pull and the intangible pull. The tangible pull involves immediate, material concerns such as the economy, standard of living, job opportunities, and wages. Voters swayed by the tangible pull prioritize issues that affect their day-to-day lives and financial security. On the other hand, the intangible pull is rooted in values, ideals, and abstract concepts such as democracy, freedom, dignity, and accountability. These voters prioritize upholding the moral and ethical fabric of society. Both pulls are significant, but they often come into conflict, creating ideological fissures in American society. The tangible and intangible pull are not mutually exclusive, but the differences in emphasis lead to competing priorities and deep divisions among voters. To understand American politics and the persistent polarization within it, it is essential to explore these two motivations and how they shape voter behavior and political discourse. Voters driven by the tangible pull are focused on what is often referred to as pocketbook issues. These include employment opportunities, wage growth, healthcare, the cost of living, and economic policies that directly impact their quality of life. For these voters, politics is fundamentally about improving or preserving their material well-being. They seek concrete policies that provide economic stability and upward mobility, believing that a strong economy is the foundation for a better life. The tangible pull is not just about personal gain, it's also about a broader sense of security and opportunity. For example, during the 1992 presidential campaign, Bill Clinton's campaign famously coined the phrase, "It's the economy, stupid," a reminder that voters' economic concerns were paramount. Clinton's focus on the economy resonated with voters facing a recession, helping him secure the presidency. This approach capitalized on the tangible pull, emphasizing job creation, tax cuts for the middle class, and welfare reform. According to a Pew Research Center survey from 2020, the economy consistently ranks among the top priorities for American voters. In that election cycle, 79% of voters cited the economy as a very important factor in their decision-making, a higher percentage than any other issue. This highlights the enduring appeal of tangible concerns in shaping voter preferences. However, tangible pull voters often express skepticism towards candidates who emphasize abstract ideals without addressing their economic anxieties. For example, slogans like freedom and justice can ring hollow if voters feel financially insecure or worry about their ability to access basic needs like healthcare or housing. This tension between idealism and pragmatism is a recurring theme in American political discourse. Voters driven by the intangible pull prioritize values and ideals that transcend immediate material concerns. These voters are motivated by a commitment to abstract concepts such as democracy, human rights, fairness, and social justice. They believe that a nation's strength is rooted not just in its wealth but in its adherence to fundamental principles of decency, integrity, and accountability. The intangible pull is not a new phenomenon. Throughout American history, movements driven by ideals have played a central role in shaping political change. The civil rights movement of the 1960s, for example, was not primarily about economic issues, but about the pursuit of dignity, equality, and justice for African Americans. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., in his famous "I Have a Dream" speech, articulated a vision of America where freedom and justice were accessible to all, regardless of race. This appeal to intangible ideals of fairness and equality galvanized a generation and reshaped the nation's political landscape. In more recent times, intangible pull voters have been central to debates about issues such as LGBTQ+ rights, voting rights, climate change, and the integrity of democratic institutions. For these voters, upholding values and protecting democratic norms is paramount, even if it means making sacrifices in other areas. They often see economic prosperity as hollow without a corresponding commitment to justice and equity. However, Tangible pull voters sometimes view intangible pull voters as disconnected from reality or overly idealistic. The tangible pull perspective argues that freedom does not put food on the table, implying that lofty ideals are irrelevant if basic economic needs are not met. This perception can fuel resentment and further deepen divisions between voters with different priorities. The clash between the tangible and intangible pulls is a defining feature of American politics, and it manifests itself in debates over policy priorities, campaign messaging, and the framing of political issues. Politicians often face a difficult balancing act, trying to appeal to both groups without alienating one or the other. This tension is evident in the differing rhetoric used by candidates from opposing political parties. For example, in the 2016 presidential election, Donald Trump's campaign focused heavily on tangible issues such as job creation, trade policies, and deregulation, while also invoking slogans like, "Make America Great Again," that appealed to a broader sense of national pride. Trump's emphasis on economic nationalism and promises to revitalize American manufacturing resonated strongly with voters in economically distressed areas, particularly in the industrial Midwest. On the other hand, Trump's opponent, Hillary Clinton, framed her campaign around values such as inclusivity, gender equality, and social justice. While these messages appealed to voters driven by the intangible pull, they were less effective in reaching voters whose primary concern was economic insecurity. The result was a stark divide between voters focused on immediate material concerns and those motivated by ideals and values. The division between these two groups is also evident in polling data. According to a Gallup poll from 2017, when asked about the most important problem facing the country, 35% of respondents cited economic issues, while 44% cited non-economic issues such as healthcare, government ethics, and immigration. This split highlights the differing priorities between tangible and intangible pull voters and underscores the challenges of addressing both sets of concerns within a single political agenda. The ongoing tension between the tangible and intangible pulls is not unique to contemporary politics. Throughout history, American voters have been divided over how to prioritize economic and moral concerns. During the Great Depression, President Franklin D. Roosevelt's New Deal policies focused on tangible economic relief, but they were also framed in terms of intangible values such as compassion, fairness, and the responsibility of government to care for its citizens. Roosevelt's ability to bridge the gap between tangible and intangible concerns was key to his political success. More recently, the 2008 financial crisis and the subsequent rise of populist movements on both the left and the right have highlighted the enduring power of economic anxiety and its impact on political behavior. The tangible pull, in these cases, often manifests as anger and disillusionment with the political establishment, while the intangible pull is expressed through demands for justice, accountability, and reform. Looking forward, the challenge for American politicians is to find ways to address both the tangible and intangible concerns of voters. As income inequality rises and trust in democratic institutions declines, bridging the divide between these two poles will require empathy, compromise, and a willingness to listen to voters' diverse priorities. The tension between the tangible and intangible poles is a central feature of American political life. While voters driven by tangible concerns prioritize economic security and material well-being, those motivated by intangible values focus on ideals such as freedom, justice, and democracy. These differing motivations often lead to clashes over policy priorities and political messaging, creating deep divisions within the electorate. Understanding these two poles is crucial for anyone seeking to navigate American politics. By recognizing the different motivations that drive voters, politicians and policymakers can work toward finding common ground and addressing the complex needs of the nation. After all, a thriving society requires both a strong economy and a commitment to the values that bind its citizens together.